tell me, how many times have we heard this, that business operations, when the pandemic hit us, they turned topsy-turvy, they turned upside down. And of course, marketing wasn't an exception, right? That too faced the brunt. So Noble plans to tackle the unimaginable situations almost daily. Now, the session that's coming up, ladies and gentlemen, is actually led by a CMO whom I would like to call a wizard, who really altered the marketing playbook of an organization to generate sustainable results. Now, who's this one? Allow me to please rope in. Let's give a big round of applause to welcome the Group CEO of Mullen, Lowe, Lintas Group. Let's give it up to you, Virat Tandon. Virat, it's over to you.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. It's a lovely rainy morning. I love rains. It's cool here in Bombay. And glad to be amongst all of you guys who've tuned in for this session. So yeah, I mean, sessions like these give me an opportunity to kind of step away from the thick of the action that we've all been involved in for last 15 months. I mean, extremely kind of hyper activity, and reflect on what really is going on. And I really valued this opportunity, so I'm going to share some of my observations and some of my thoughts. So just stay with me for the next 15 odd minutes. Yeah, and I'll try and kind of give you guys my perspective. So like 15 months it's been since we all went into this lockdown and this pandemic, and it's been like I said 15 months of hyperactivity, lots and lots of doing, but also lots of quick thinking. And I've been involved in many initiatives along with other CMOs inside our own agency, agency group, looking at different ways in which we can help brands tide over this pandemic. And there are lots of things that have changed, and lots of tactics as well as strategic initiatives. So initially, it was all when we all got into the lockdown. Initially, nobody knew what to do, and we all saw a spate of maybe tactics which were like looking for that immunity feature or immunity related variant in your portfolio, or create that content to kind of show solidarity to your audience, and so on and so forth. So some of that happened, and I think after that time, people kind of understood what consumers are going through, what people are going through, what we all are going through, how technology is playing a role, how business is getting impacted, and how brands are really going to get impacted. And we ourselves created a toolkit called Restart and Restart in partnership with a lot of other brand thinkers and Kellogg School of Management to help brands find a path to recovery. I must say that I have been extremely impressed with the sophistication with which CMOs have now started addressing some of the issues, whether it is using technology to cement or to fix the broken brand experience, or whether it is to find new ways of creating relevance for your brand with the consumer. So like lot of sophistication has started coming into it, and I'm sure much more sophistication is what we are going to see as we go forward. So like I said, there are a lot of technologies playing a big role. Data science and AI applications are coming into marketing. I mean, I personally have witnessed cases such as when Tata Motors launched their car Altroz Premium Hatchback. Just launched it in towards the beginning of the year, and soon enough there was this pandemic, and there were obviously challenges for footfalls in the showrooms. So how do you sell a car without having people coming into the showroom? And we developed a voice bot, AI-based voice bot for them to help people experience this new car. Similarly, other high purchase categories where brands such as Tanishq and Raymond play. They realized that they needed to do something to kind of deliver a seamless brand experience, and both these brands very successfully created a phygital model, uh, tried to replicate literally almost seamlessly the whole brand experience, the whole purchase experience, in a very phygital kind of a way. So those are some of the examples. It is true that CMOs have been involved in a lot of issues, trying to solve issues with brands. I would say that broadly, there are three kinds of buckets where these issues have fallen. That's the way I have looked at it. First set of brands is where the category has become super relevant, and these would largely be your health and hygiene categories, foods categories, technology brand categories, social media, OTT entertainment, all these categories. And I think these categories have become super relevant, and all these CMOs have been extremely busy. In fact, our own teams who work with some of these brands and these CMOs have actually literally been working non-stop. The workload has probably jumped 5 times. Brands like Lifebuoy, Domex, etc. um, and for these categories, it's all been about how do you create content to educate, how do you teach new behaviors to people, how do you create new variants, how do you manage supply chain to fulfill the new requirement, the increased requirement. So it's been those kind of challenges, and that's what CMOs have. So that's one bucket. The second bucket, I would say, is where the relevance of your category has kind of gone down because people are at home, or people are, for whatever reason, your brand doesn't address, maybe partly addresses, but not fully address, the new needs, the new emerging needs. And here, I would say that the categories that come to mind are makeup and beauty, detergents to some extent, um, automotive, travel, tourism, and hospitality. So these are some of the categories where people are probably finding the relevance to be lower. And here the CMOs have worked very hard to kind of understand how people's needs are changing, to either innovate or to find new kind of variants, or create relevance in a kind of a new way. And some of the examples here are launching a sanitizer based detergent. Or interestingly, if you look at the makeup category, what is going on over there is that while face related products have gone down, eye makeup and nails has really risen quite dramatically. So those categories have actually gone up because people are on social media posting, making reels, etc., etc. So using data to kind of identify how the consumer is moving, and dipping into your portfolio and kind of making some adjustments has been another kind of tactic. And if you have a good kind of wide portfolio, then I think it's a better there's a better chance that you will be able to fill those gaps. The third bucket is mostly affordability related, with so many livelihoods lost. There are many people who are unfortunately either dropping off the branded products, so maybe going into unbranded or proxy products, or titrating down to lower tier brands. And that is something how they are making do. Now this is where maybe SKU strategies come into play, where CMOs have started focusing on pack strategy, value packs, sachets, entry level packs, and so on and so forth. And also brands that are strong and have a very strong emotional connection have found that their investments in building that kind of brand equity is something that is protecting their market share and their penetration much better. And I think therefore we also see many brands continuing to invest in building that that brand equity. So these are three different buckets, where I feel the CMOs can fit into either one or the other bucket in terms of what kind of challenges they are facing. Maybe there are more, and I'd be happy to hear from all of you what other buckets could be. From all of this, there are three big learnings. Now I would summarize. So what have I, after my reflection, what are my takeaways, from the last 15 months? So one big learning is, look, innovation and creativity is actually increased dramatically, and also it's happening much faster. Whether the Altroz bot that I spoke to you about, or the the customer experience for Tanishq, etc., that I was talking about, or introducing new kind of launch brand extensions, or introducing new variants. All of those things are things that are innovations or creativity. Like Lifebuoy created this new campaign called H for hand wash, and that was such a creative idea to teach people the importance, actually starting from children, to teach children the importance of hand washing, because it's very difficult to bring about behavior change in amongst children. So no matter how much you tell them, they will not learn. So the idea was to go back to the roots and go back to how children learn in their early stages, and replace A for apple, etc., but replace H for horse by H for hand wash. And this is something that that's they're investing behind. Many other initiatives that they're investing behind. So innovation and creativity is something that has really increased a lot. And by the way, this is nothing new. I was doing some research, and I realized that a lot of the breakthrough innovations or creative thinking actually happened during time of crisis. So whether it was Sir Isaac Newton who discovered the law of gravity, or whether it was Shakespeare who wrote King Lear, or whether it was many other innovations that happened either during the wartime crisis or during the plague. Even brands like Lifebuoy were born actually out of the plague and the cholera crisis. So lot of inventions happened out of crisis, lot of innovation and creativity. So that's a theme I think we should watch. It's going to only improve and increase, and the logic there is that everything that we know, how the rule book used to be, like the playbook for marketing used to be, all that, a lot of that has got disrupted, and that forces us to be creative, to rethink a lot of the things, and create new structures and new ideas, and all of that. So that's my one big takeaway. The other big takeaway I have is the importance of purpose in brands, or for brands. Now, brands that were very clear about their purpose, and look, not all kind of purpose would may be relevant during the pandemic, but there are brands, one, who were clear about their purpose, and two, whose purpose became very relevant to these times. And again, names that come to my mind is a brand like Google, where their purpose of organizing the world's information and making it accessible and useful to each and every one is something that has been never ever been more relevant than today, when people are using all kinds of sources, search, etc., to make sense of what's going on, to learn how to take care of themselves, to figure out details about vaccination. Where are the vaccination centers? What should I get vaccinated? What could be the risks, etc.? Various things. Going on to payments, going on to calling, accessing video calls, etc. So all those things have actually become super relevant, and because Google, a brand like Google, has a very clear purpose, they've managed to actually find ways of helping their consumers or helping their users through this. Again, the other example is Lifebuoy. It was born to save lives, and it is becoming, or it has become, the most relevant brand, and it has risen up to play that role beautifully. It's even said that, put out communication that you can use any soap as long as you are washing your hands with soap. We don't care whether it's Lifebuoy or not. Now that's like really rising up above everything else, and making your purpose count. So those are two, and the third one, which we've talked about a lot in the past, but I think now I'm seeing it coming into action, is collaboration. I mean, I've personally experienced that. We all spoke a lot about collaboration before, but this is a time that has forced us to collaborate. Also, this is the time where the issue is so big that not one person, not one company, not one CMO can actually, do enough to solve it. And brands and people and organizations, platforms, everyone are very open to coming together to help solve problems and issues. And here, I had a personal experience. We'd created this platform to help migrant workers after speaking to a lot of the clients in the early stages of the lockdown, and there was concern that the migrants who've left, obviously very painful, but also how do we bring them back when when we open up businesses. And of course, our heart bled for the migrants who were displaced and losing livelihoods. So we created a platform called kamvapsi.com, and we approached some clients, some other CMO friends, and I was so pleasantly surprised and happy to see that companies like Airtel, Z, Axis Bank, Radio City, and a few others, wholeheartedly partnered and supported us. And they supported with free FCT, free text, etc., content, a lot of the stuff. So I think collaboration is something that we will start seeing much more of, and I think that's a really good thing for the world. Our hearts are growing bigger, I feel, and I think it's a good thing for the world. So to summarize, I would just say that the pandemic has really altered our lives, and the CMOs have been really at the forefront, in the thick of the action, coming up. It may be initially slightly tactical, but coming up with a lot more sophisticated ways of dealing with the pandemic, and using creativity, using purpose, using collaboration to really do some fantastic work. And let's keep this going. I'm sure we will win over the pandemic. Thank you so much.
Virat, I have to thank you for that fantastic conversation, may I say. And, as you said, I'm just reminded of the saying that, heroes, like you said, are born not during times of ease, but in periods of dangerous discomfort. So I think this particular discomfort, you nail at bringing in so many initiatives. Mandela became Mandela on Robben Island, and Rosa Parks became a hero while facing mistreatment. So yes, I think that's the learning, and great to know about these initiatives, and all the very, very best to you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, while at the platform, you could experience the helicopters hovering, the ships flying, and Virat talking about the rains really. And I am experiencing the rains as well outside, right out there. I think it just can't get better with the vibes, right? So if I talk about the next session for the clicks, nailing the brief on content marketing for social media, how do you really do it? 99 briefs, but a click aren't one. Some of us partially, suffer from this dreaded circumstance, if I can say so, and especially post the pandemic, when understanding consumer behavior has really maybe become a task. So who solves this for us. I will get in somebody, I would rope in the expert who will talk about just that. Just allow me a few seconds to be right back.